let me tell you how I dollify stuff in excruciating detail with the Lego Marvel collectible minifigure series as an example. Or more precisely, just Monica Rambeau. BrickoMotion. Hello, Claire here. I almost never work on one figure alone for reasons that will become clear soon. So you might be able to recognize other characters alongside Monica. That's to be expected and in no way guarantees that I'll make a video about them. Also for reasons I'll explain in a bit. Oh yeah, and spoilers for everything. I followed these 7 steps of dollifying, and I hope more people will join me in my quest to dollify the world. Your steps for dollifying, should you choose to fulfill your customizing destiny, might be a bit different. Still, knowing how I do it can help you find your own path on the journey for more minidoll diversity. And I want to explain why so many of my dollify projects never get made. First step is to watch the movie or the series. So the first thing I do, often even before I get the idea of dollifying a character, is to watch the movie or the series the character is in. Therefore, this step is as long as the series, movie, or series of movies. For the Marvel Cinematic Universe, up to Endgame, that would be 22 movies with a total runtime of almost 48 hours. Don't worry, didn't do a marathon. At least not recently. And then there are all the series. I didn't watch all of them, but I did the relevant ones. We got Disney Plus for a month, binged them all and cancelled the subscription. We would be constantly subscribed if only Disney would have the decency to pay their authors. But they don't, so #Disney must pay. The point of this step is to get to know the character and see if I even like them. Because if I don't, it's best to stop the dollification here and move on to something else. Obviously, I like the whole MCU enough that I want to dollify it, so let's just move on to the second step, which is watch and read more about the character. Because all of these movies were not enough. This is the only optional step and mostly just serves as an excuse to watch more video essays. When I really like a piece of media, like the miniseries WandaVision, I want to know more. I need to know more. My absolute favorite source is YouTube, of course. But wiki pages and the internet in general are great for this too. Because this step is optional, it can take 0 minutes to finish. Or I can go deep into the video essay rabbit hole and spend an eternity there. On average though, I try to limit myself on a few hours. Occasionally, this step will reveal to me some flaw that I did not pick up on while watching, and the movie will be ruined for me. And so will the dollification. This did not happen with WandaVision, so I proceeded to number 3. Get reference images of the character. This one is so important to do, and most days I find myself wishing I could skip it because of how frustrating it can be. Sure, it's easy enough to Google Scarlet Witch and click on pictures, but can you accurately paint the whole minidoll from most of these pictures? No, you can't. You don't even know her shoe color. You need high-resolution, full-body pictures for that. And they are often hard to find. The trick I use in those cases is to look for pictures of official merch, costumes, cardboard cutouts, toys, and sometimes even fan art. For superheroes in particular, I love action figures. Another great use for the action figures is to see how the character looks from behind, because you do not want to Google that. For princessy and other girly themes, dolls are an excellent source of apparel information. I also like to find several close-ups of the face. Luckily, they are very common and easily findable. Finding all the relevant references can take me up to an hour for each character, especially if I have to go back searching for it while I'm already painting, which does happen quite often. You know, to figure out what that thing on the inner arm was. Step number 4. Cost-benefit analysis of the dollification. Using all the pictures I had gathered in the previous step, I try to find minidoll parts that are most like the character. The biggest emphasis here is on the overall shape and skin, hands and legs color. Everything else can be painted over. Not that there is much else left. Of course, you could just paint over everything, but then the paint will chip when the doll's arms move or it sits down. The same thing happens if you paint the hands and then you make the doll hold onto something. I try to avoid the paint chipping by not painting those parts. That's why I need the original Lego part to color match the character in those specific areas. Theoretically, I could paint the skin, and I have done that. However, it's tricky to pull off right, especially because of the face. I find this works better for un-minidoll-like faces, like the one from Jack Skellington. I painted only the Evil Witch's skin, thereby preserving the original eyes, whereas Jack got the complete makeover, and I feel he looks better for it. There are several possible conclusions to this step. The best one is that I have everything that I need and I can move on to customizing. The slightly worse, but still good conclusion, is that I could dollify the character in an alternate outfit. I need to do this most often because the character has gloves in a color Lego has not yet produced minidoll hands in. And the conclusion I hate the most is that the character at this point in time cannot be dollified. Within the Marvel CMF series there are examples for all of these cases. Sylvie is just good to go. For Monica, I had to make the executive decision that the medium nougat skin tone, while not perfect, would have to be good enough. Scarlet Witch, Captain Carter and Captain America wear dark red, brown and red gloves. Lego did not make any of those colors yet, so my Scarlet Witch, Captain Carter and Captain America don't wear gloves. Or well, won't wear gloves once I actually finish the mini dolls. And I think with them I can get away with it. In contrast, I do not see how I could create Spider-Man without his gloves. They seem to me an integral part of his costume. In the past, I often had to order missing minidoll parts. Nowadays, I generally don't need to do this anymore. I've developed a habit of buying any minidoll piece I know to be useful whenever I would find it for cheap. I'll occasionally make smaller changes to a character's outfit because I feel it suits her more, or it requires less painting, or both. Monica's legs are a good representation of this. Her shoes should be black, not that you would see it from most of the photos, but that looked boring to me, so I got her grey shoes instead. And because I do stuff on the internet, I'm still not done with this step. I need to figure out how much work it's gonna be to finish this mini doll and how popular the character is. If it's a lot of work for somebody only I know about, I can't justify putting in the effort. If it's only a bit customizing for a very beloved character, I'm absolutely doing it. Sadly, most projects fall somewhere in between those two extremes. and it could be hard to determine if it's worth it. In those cases, I let my heart decide, meaning I do what I find most interesting. This step is a fairly short one, taking me around half an hour per minidoll, but that's only true for me now. When I didn't have this big of a minidoll stash, I had to plow through the online catalogs to find if a suitable minidoll existed, and then order it. It all took a while. Most dollify attempts die here, on this step. They never reach the final 3 steps, and I never make a video about them. The most notable dollify project that did not make it past this point are the My Little Pony Equestria girls with their original skin color. Though I'm still keeping an eye out on all the unusual skin colors Lego does produce sometimes. Step number 5, customize. The customization is probably the first, if not the only, step you thought of when you saw the title of this video. Well, it isn't. In order to avoid damaging parts I need for the dollify, I have dedicated pieces that I don't mind ruining. I take apart the to-be dollified doll and connect the torso to dispensable pants, the legs to a dispensable torso, the hair to Lego bricks, and I put the head on a stick. In the joyous occasion that a part doesn't need any customizing, I can skip the attaching part. Monica's pants fall into this category. Yeah! If the pieces need cutting, filing, sculpting, or almost any other non-painty modification, I do that now. Simpler projects don't require this, while the more complex ones do, by definition. Monica was fortunately on the easier side. She only required painting. First comes the base coat. For Monica, that was white. When done, I apply a finish onto it and let it dry for at least 12 hours. This allows me to more easily rectify some of the mistakes I'll inevitably make while painting on the details. I repeat this until the doll is done. In the end, Monica's torso has in total 5 layers of finish on the front where the sword logo is, and only 1 layer in the back where her shirt's only white. In my experience, the torso is the most important part of the dollification. What doesn't mean that other parts aren't important, just that this is the part you want to focus on. Monica's torso is fairly simple, as torsos go, and I felt the character deserved more of my attention, so I made 2 faces for her. Did I really need to change the original face at all? No, it was fine. I actually suggest you use it for a quick, paintless dollify. I did it because I could. It's hard to say how much exactly it takes me to paint one minidoll, because I almost never paint one minidoll at a time. Do I count the time spent waiting for the paint and the finish to dry? Surely not. How about the mixing of paints? And what if I use that mix on several dolls? The point I'm trying to make is that while it takes me anywhere between 4 and 12 hours to paint a minidoll, I cannot paint one minidoll in 1 day. But I can paint 3 minidolls in 3 days. I know the math is confusing, but I've checked it and it's fine. Step number 6, accessories. The minidoll alone is fine, but if you want it to look amazing, and I do, it needs accessories. Almost anything can serve as an accessory. A crown, a cape, a weapon, a shield, a flower. Made out of original Lego parts, alternative materials, or both. I like reusing the minifigure accessories whenever I can. It's easy and convenient, especially if I'm dollifying a CMF figure. They always come with accessories, although some will work better with minidolls than others. Monica's figure comes with a red helicopter that I like and I don't feel a need to change. Even though I completely forgot to put it in the photos that I then made. So Scarlet Witch has a cape as a minifigure, but I want the mini doll to have an overskirt, just like in the series. So I'll make her one using paper and my own pattern. Gonna be fun. The video is coming, but give me some time. Step number 7, putting it all together. The most fun step of them all. Put the mini doll together and marvel at its glory. I'm pointing this out as a step on its own to emphasize it. I get so caught up in the video producing aspect of dollifying that I forget to celebrate what I have created. Even if it's not exactly as I had planned. And I can see that that line is kind of crooked. Not even Lego prints turn out amazing every time. So I praise myself for my good work and get on with creating the video. If you can create an environment for yourself where you can paint the dolls in peace, I highly suggest you do that. This rushing to complete a mini is almost sucking the joy out of me. Almost. Looking at the finished Monica, I have to say I do absolutely love the minifigure, despite all of its tiny flaws. How similar it looks to the actress? I don't know. I did try my best. I really wish we would have a darker skin tone for her because I think that would help immensely. But the shirt turned out amazing. I think it's way better than what Lego did, especially when comparing to the reference photos I have. The shirt is really not white gray, it's kind of covered in bluish hues all over. So yeah, mine is better looking and more accurate. Haha, take that Lego. Betcha I didn't even know this was a competition. It's not. And yes, I think the decision to use grey instead of black shoes was excellent. The mini dolls looks better for it. Until the next time you click on one of my videos, bye bye! And all I need to do now is dollify the others. And Halloween is coming as well. And then the holidays. No pressure. And I'm fine.